Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Well, all three of you that are there. This is the very first live that I've ever done, so you'll have to excuse me if I'm all awkward and whatever. But this is very exciting. I have been loving March Mystery Madness so far. I realize we're like only a week into it, but it has been so fun. And I've loved how many people are involved and participating. Discord has been popping. It's been so great. So if you're here, let me know. I'd love to know in the chats, say hello. I'd love to know who's with me for some reading sprints tonight. What I'm going to do is I thought a good schedule might be if we chatted for like 10 minutes and then read for about 20 minutes and then chat again for 10 minutes. So if you guys are okay with that, then I think that's what I'm going to do. Books in every room. Hi, how are you doing? Carolyn. Hi, Carolyn. I can't believe you're here. That's so awesome. Carolyn's reading ramblings. She's my buddy reading buddy. James. Oh my goodness. James Burnside. How are you? James is an author. I read one of his books and reviewed it. It was awesome. It was like this locked room. It was so good. What was that one called, James? Goodnight, Irene, I think. Is that the one where the person got killed in the theater? It was at an opera. It was really good. It was a locked room. Yeah, it was great. So, so while we're here, the opening night murders, that's what it was. Goodnight, Irene, though, is another one of yours, isn't it, James? I haven't read that one. But yeah, the opening night murders. Yeah, it was really good. So I thought we could just chat for a few minutes about mysteries since it's March Mystery Madness, and then we'll read for a while. Oh, Carolyn wants to know if she wants to know, of course it's okay. You don't have to read a mystery. We're going to read together. You can honestly read whatever you want. I promise I won't send the March Mystery Madness police to your house. You may read whatever you want. Hello, Leo. Leo, yes, it is International Women's Day, so that's awesome. I thought the first thing, maybe we could have a quick chat about what kind of a mystery reader are you? Even if you're not reading a mystery tonight, in honor of March Mystery Madness, I thought it'd be fun to chat about what kind of a mystery reader are you? Like, for example, I almost read almost exclusively mysteries. Like, I am a big time mystery reader. I do read a lot of other things. I read classics, I read historical fiction, and I read nonfiction. I love history and I love true crime. But, my go-to genre is mysteries, and that's what I love to read. So what about you guys? What kind of a mystery reader are you? I would love to know about that. And then the other thing I thought it would be fun to find out from people is quite often you will see, mystery is kind of this overarching, Aaron, I like Encyclopedia Brown. Aaron is my husband and he's being super supportive, and so that's awesome. Also, I picked up an Encyclopedia Brown at the library today. They have a pop-up sale, and I picked one up there to go in our little free library out front. So that's awesome. So there's this overarching banner that's called mystery, and there's so many subgenres under that. But quite often you will see mystery, thriller, suspense. And those really are three really different kinds of books. And so would you say, and people seem to kind of like lean towards one or the other. So are you a mystery reader? Are you a thriller reader? Or are you a suspense reader? I think that would be really interesting to find out too. Books in every room. Oh yes. Cozy and vintage. That is awesome. I love vintage mysteries as well. The golden age of mystery is some of my absolute writers are from that time period. Carolyn, she loves mysteries, mostly cozy, golden age and modern, and also historical. Yeah, I love historical mysteries. Like if I had to pick only one mystery to read for the rest of my life, I would pick historical mysteries, hands down. James reads Golden Age mysteries. Yeah, and his book is from 34. And you're right, James. Fair play and good cluing. That's hilarious. Now, I've seen on other live streams, people put some of the comments on the screen, but I don't know how to do that. And I'm not seeing anything that gives me, yeah, I don't know how to do that. So I'll just read out your comments as I notice them. Yeah, I agree, James. Fair play for sure. And the clue, like the puzzle, that's what I love about Golden Age mysteries is solving the puzzle. And honestly, like I think that's why Agatha Christie is my all-time favorite, because she is so good at the subtle clues. Her books are 100% fair play, but you'll get people that will often say, no, I don't think they are. But if you read back, you'll notice it's all there. It's all out there in the book for you to figure out the mystery before the detective in the book does. But she is so good at subtle clues and hiding clues in amongst other things. And I love that. Hi, Emily is here from The Redhead is Reading. How are you? 100% Bookworm. Hi. Thanks for joining me. This is going to be so fun. So we're going to chat for another about 4 minutes, and then we'll start a reading sprint. So I'd like to hear from you guys. What mystery, suspense, or thriller? Kind of what's your go-to? Where would you kind of generally say that you pop up? Carolyn, ooh, Murder Mansion by J.H. Wallace. Ooh, that sounds good. The nice thing is we'll have access to all these comments afterwards, and then we can all go frantically looking at fantastic fiction in our libraries to find all these great recommendations. I love that. Yes, Emily from The Redhead is Reading is a mystery reader for sure. I am too. I read a few thrillers, but not as many because it's a really different kind of book. The formatting is different. Thrillers I find are always about the twist at the end, the big twist at the end. 100% Bookworm. Yeah, mystery for sure. Yeah, books in every room. Yeah, I would say that a lot of us, we're the mysteries, right? Whether it's cozies or vintage or even historicals, they're not as fair play, but they have the kind of the same beats that you would expect when you're reading a vintage mystery or even a cozy. Like it's the same sort of format, right? Like, the setup, the dead body, the investigation, the reveal. And I'm a sucker for the drawing room conclusion at the end. I know that has a lot of different names, but like the great reveal, you bring together all of the suspects into a room and the detective goes through everything and reveals who the killer is. I love that in books. And I'm curious to know was Agatha Christie the first one to do that? Because she did it in The Mysterious Affair at Styles, which was her very first, and that was 1920. Does anybody know of a book that has that kind of gathering of the suspects, the drawing room conclusion in a book before 1920? I would actually really love to know. 100% Bookworm. I'm easily frightened, so I never read thrillers. Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying about that. Like, I am pretty easily frightened too. So I do read some, but yeah, I don't tend to read a lot of super scary stuff. Carolyn reads a bit of suspense. Yeah, thrillers get her anxiety up. Yeah, I totally get that. Ambicraft reads, hello, welcome here. Eating and reading, that's perfect. I love it. Did Sherlock Holmes ever do that? That's a good question, Carolyn. I have read some of his books. Not his books, Conan Doyle's books, obviously, and short stories. And I can't remember. I'll have to go back and do do some research into that. That's a good question. Okay, so we are about 10 minutes into this thing. Are you guys ready to do a sprint? I've got a timer, so this is the plan. Well, first of all, before we do that, let's talk about the books that we're reading tonight. The Thin Man movie, probably got it from Christy. Maybe. I've never seen that movie. I've never seen that movie. So I've got a little stack of books here with me tonight to get me through. So the one that I'm reading right now is November Rain by Maureen Jennings. This is a historical mystery set in Toronto in 1936. It's the second in her series, and it's really good. I really, really enjoy it. Maureen Jennings wrote the Inspector Murdoch mysteries, and so I have less than 100 pages in this, so I might actually finish this one tonight. But I also have Dorothy Sayers' Strong Poison. This is a group reading that I'm participating in, and I have the month to read it. So I'm reading a chapter a day. So I have a chapter to read in here. I'm also reading Death in Springtime. This is my choice for the prompt for time for March Mystery Madness. This one's great. I've never read anything by Magdalene Nabb. This was written in the 80s. I think, and I'm only like 22 pages into this. This was written in 1983. There's a letter from Georges Simenon to her at the very beginning, and it's set in Florence, which I really like that. I think that's really cool. Ambi Craft Reads is reading, Jeremy Fink and the Meaning of Life by Wendy Mass. I've never heard of that one. This one also just came today in the library, The Mystery of Mrs. Christie by Mary Benedict. I'm in Jane's book club, the Sampler Girl. She has a monthly book club, and this is the choice for this month. And this just came in today, so I might start that. And then I also have, this is a buddy read I'm doing with Berna from Berna's Bookish Adventures. And this is vintage mystery and detective stories. And so I have a short story to read in here. And it's actually a Sherlock Holmes. It's Silver Blazes. Yeah, Silver Blaze. So I think, though, I'm really into this November Rain. So I think for this first reading sprint, this is where I will go. 100% Book Room is reading a middle grade mystery. Nice. 3 Times Lucky by Sheila Turnage. Excellent. Yeah, number in the title for sure. Is anybody else doing that? Doubling up on middle grade March with March Mystery Madness? I think that would be awesome. Redhead is reading Saint X by Alexis Shaitkin. Sorry, I'm going to totally butcher that. Oh yeah, I'm really curious about the mystery of Mrs. Christie. I'm really curious to see what she does with that. All right, so how about we get set and do a 20-minute sprint? I've got even a timer here so I don't forget. So if everybody is all set, Carolyn is reading a romance. You know what? You don't have to be embarrassed about that. That's good. Gabriel's Inferno by Sylvain Renard. Well. Okay, that's awesome. I am going to set the timer going here in 10 seconds. We'll read for 20 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll chat about what we've read and anything else that turns our fancy day. All right, here we go. The timer is starting now. Hicks Picks Books, hi! I'm glad you're here. We just started a sprint. Maybe I'll put this here for people. Ooh, Beach Bum Bookworm, welcome here. You're just in time. Our first reading sprint is over in just a few seconds. And there we go. So, how did your reading go? Oh, Matt, Paperback Junkie, nice. Welcome here. So that was our first round of reading sprints. How did it go for you? I'm so close to the end of my book now. I've got like maybe 40 pages left. So even though I don't even have 40 pages left. Even though I have this stack of other books where I need to read a chapter or a short story, I think during our next reading sprint, I will see if I can finish my book. I'm totally into it now, and I need to know what happens. How did it go for everybody else? I can't even believe that there's 15 people on this right now. I love it. It's awesome. Carolyn. Oh, yeah. Carolyn is reading on her Kindle, so it's hard for her to tell, but I get it. Beach Bum Bookworm. Yes, cozy mystery. Cruising in Your 80s is Murder. That is a great title. I just brought home a book from the library today, actually, in preparation for an upcoming video, but the title cracked me up. It was called The Hearse You Came In On, which is awesome. It's got it sounds like a cozy, that title, and the book isn't a cozy at all, but it's got a cozy sounding title for sure. Emily, 15 pages, nice. Hicks Picks Books is reading Evil Under the Sun by Agatha Christie. Excellent. Are you enjoying that one? That one takes place on an island off the coast of, is it Devon or Cornwall or something like that? That one, that one is a good story. 8.5 pages, Ambicraft reads. Excellent. Books in Every Room's reading on her Kindle too. You know, I have a Kindle and it is loaded up with primarily books that I get for free off of Amazon, but I don't read it very much. Even though I'm excited about the books I have on there, I find I really am a physical copy kind of girl. Carolyn loves puns. Yeah. 100% Bookworm. She got 10% through her book. 100 pages left and hoping to finish it tonight. Oh, yeah. I would be the same. If it's under 100 pages, I have to finish it because, yeah. I sometimes, like, I always read before I go to sleep, and there will be times where I'm up for an hour or more later than I normally would just because I have to finish the book that I'm reading. I totally get that. Yeah. So, Books in Every Room wants to reread, and then there were none. Yes, classic. That is the gold standard of isolated closed circle mysteries. That's actually the one that I'm on right now in my Agatha Christie read through, and I'm loving rereading it. I love rereading Agatha Christie's books and looking for the clues that I missed the first time, because usually what happens in the first time I read an Agatha Christie, I get so caught up in the mystery and I get to the end and I think, how did I not see that coming? And so I love going back and reading and trying to find the clues where she hid stuff in the text for sure. Ambicraft reads, doesn't use Kindle. Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, I have a lot, Carolyn. I totally get that you can feel overwhelmed, but honestly, like, I figure my Kindle library, I'm going to have the same attitude toward it as the library I have at home. My library at home is mix and match books that I've read, books that I haven't read, and it doesn't bother me. I mean, it really doesn't bother me. If books have been on my shelf for 10 years and I haven't read them yet, it doesn't bother me because they'll be there for the day when I do want to read them. So yeah, I think it's great. I mean, yeah, I probably have too many books, and I do have, like, I've run out of bookshelves, and so now there's starting to be some stacks on the floor. But in all honesty, that doesn't bother me. I actually kind of like having stacks of books in certain areas. Yeah, for sure. Matt, Paperback Junkie, started, Sad Cypress. And then he started Death in the Clouds. Excellent. Now, Carolyn's talking about some favorite narrators for audiobooks. Are you guys big audio listeners for books? You'd think I would be, because I love to make puzzles, but I like to listen to something else. And so I tend to have the TV on, and I'll rewatch shows I've seen before and do my puzzle. But that would be a perfect time to do an audiobook. And I don't know why I don't, actually. It's kind of weird, but yeah. JM read a bit of Swamp Sniper, third book in the Misfortune series. Those are fun cozies. Who wrote those, JM? I've never heard of those. James, yeah, it is always good to have 150 unread books on hand. You're right, because then you're never out of books. If you can't ever get back to the library, and if the bookstores close and you can't get any more books, then hey, nothing wrong with that, hey? Emily from the Redhead is reading. Yeah, I agree that I want to reread more than I do, because then there's also all the new books or the books that I haven't read yet. And that's true. How do you decide what to do? Oh, now it's picking up. I'm getting behind now. Carolyn. It's quicker to read romances on your Kindle? That's interesting. Ambi Craft Reads listens to audiobooks from the library. I totally need to do that, because I have access to Libby and Hoopla from the library. So I totally should be checking that out. Print mostly, books in every room. Yeah. Cleaning or driving, Hicks Picks. Yeah, that's a good opportunity to listen to audiobooks, although I never drive anymore. And honestly, like, we had such a cold snap this winter, and we never drive the car. And so our battery was constantly dying. We would have to plug in the car to warm up the oil pan. And then we had to, like, put in on the trickle charger to charge the battery enough. And then really that was honestly just to go to the library to pick up holds. So we never go out anymore. Okay. So, Jana De Leon wrote the Misfortune cozies. Thank you, JM. I hadn't heard of those. Oh, yes. Listening while you're exercising. That's actually a really good time to listen to audiobooks, for sure. Although, frankly, I would probably slow right down. Like, if I was walking, I would get so focused on listening that if I paid any attention, I would realize I was walking really, really slowly. I have to do, like, set routines. Like, I often will do exercises with Leslie Sansone. And the reason is just because they've picked the music. And so I'm going to guarantee to be at the right speed to get a proper exercise in, for sure. Carolyn, your book is set in Canada. That's awesome. Where? Ambicraft Reads. Yeah, why would you spend your hard-earned money on a book and then not read it? Well, but just because you haven't read it yet doesn't mean you're not going to read it. So it's still money well spent, I say. Jackie Lou's Book Queue. Hi, welcome here, Jackie. She just started, 5 Red Herrings by Dorothy Sayers. Excellent. That's some classic golden age right there. Now, that's the one where Lord Peter is, I can't remember where he is, but there's an artist's colony, right? And one of them goes over a cliff, and then there's 5 others. And so in the end, there's 6 people, and 5 of them are red herrings. That's the deal with that, right? Yes, audiobooks so that you can multitask. Yeah, I completely understand. That totally makes sense. Beach Bum Bookworm's been listening to a ton of audiobooks. Yeah. And that's totally true, right? Like, I have been watching shows, but otherwise it would be audiobooks for me when I'm doing jigsaw puzzles. And it's the same. If you crochet or knit or any of those things, it's really nice to be able to listen to a story while you're doing those things, for sure. All right. Oh, really? The University of Toronto, Carolyn. That's interesting. Ambicraft reads. Yeah, I go to Goodreads and get a whole bunch of books too. And then guaranteed I haven't read all of the books that I got the last time I went. Yeah. So it's been really fun chatting with you guys. I love this. I honestly didn't know how live reading sprints would go. I've watched and other people's channels, but yeah, I think this is really fun. So oh yes, Ambicraft reads, crochets, and listens to audiobooks or watches TV. Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that. That's totally fun. I find like I can't watch a TV show anymore without doing something else. Like I just sitting here and watching a show, I find is like part of me is like I need to do something else. I need to play a game on my computer or do a jigsaw puzzle or something. Yeah. So, what do you guys think? Let's do another reading sprint. I think that would be great because then I can finish my book. So, if you guys are in, let's do it. Jackie, oh, they're in Kirkcudbright, Scotland. What are you reading, Jackie? I just read a book that was set at least partially there, right, Carolyn? We just read The Winter Sea by Susanna Kearsley, and that's set in Slains, but then also part of it in Kirkcudbright. That is a funny coincidence. Oh, isn't that hilarious? Okay, what do you guys think? In 15 seconds, let's do another 20-minute sprint. Are you guys in? Elizabeth, Lizzie Faye loves books. Hi. She can't stay, but she wanted to say hi. Nice to see you. So if you guys are in, let's do another. Oh, the Dorothea. Is it really in Kirkcudbright? I didn't. That's really, really funny. Okay, I'm setting the timer for another 20 minutes. And Carolyn, you're right. I'm saying it phonetically, and that's not Kakubri. Is that what it is? Yes to a sprint. Okay, 20 minutes. I'm starting the timer. Let's go. Woohoo! Maybe I can finish my book. Yeah, that's totally fine, Ambi. I know I saw that Krista was doing a live reading sprints tonight. So yeah, go have fun and say hi to everybody for me. All right, that's the everybody. I can't believe it. I am like 6 pages away from finishing my book. Oh, not even 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pages from the end. We're gonna have to do one more reading sprint so I can finish my book. How did you guys do? Boy, this is fun. I love reading with other people. This is great. So, oh, everybody's finishing their page or their paragraph. I totally get that. But that's 20 minutes. So let's chat for a few minutes. Elizabeth is back. Woohoo! Hicks Picks, nice. 18 pages. That's great. What are you reading tonight? I forget. You may have already mentioned. 13 pages, Jackie. Nice. That's good. Is anyone doing audio while they're doing other things like knitting or crafting or doing a jigsaw puzzle? I started a jigsaw puzzle last night, actually. I got it from my mom, and it's 1,500 pieces, which is bigger than I usually do. I usually do 1,000, but it's really busy. There's a lot going on, a lot of colors, so it's not going to be too difficult to do. Oh, right. Evil Under the Sun. Oh, yeah, that's good. Are you enjoying it? That one's really fun. Carolyn. Carolyn's giving us a location in her Kindle. That's great. 17 pages, Emily. That's awesome. Ooh, James is on page 50 and they've just met the detective and they have one body. That's good. I approve. I'm not a huge fan of books that wait too long to get to the body. I like to be dropped right in the action and then just move quickly on, for sure. So 50 pages in, you've met the detective and the dead body. That's good. Oh, the murder has just occurred in Hicks Picks' book. Excellent. Very good. So, I mean, I'm close enough to the end. I'm in the denouement. The murderer has been revealed in my book. We're just wrapping things up. This is a great series. And actually, if you're still looking for something for the weather prompt, both the books in this series would fit because the first book is called Heat Wave and this is called November Rain. So both of them would totally fit for the weather prompt. And they're really good. They're set in Toronto, like I said, in 1936. So really, she is a private investigator. In the first book, she gets a job with Mr. Gilmore at his private detective agency. So yeah, that's really cool. Elizabeth is reading First Call by Janice J. Richardson. Nice. Mystery series set in a funeral home. Nice. I don't know if you heard me from before, Elizabeth, but I brought a book home from the library today for a video that's upcoming that's also set in a funeral parlor, and it's got a great title. It's called The Hearse You Came In On, which is awesome. Yeah, because I'm doing a video coming up about books that are set in about funeral directors or morticians, and there are way more than I originally thought, but it's a great setting and job for a mystery story for sure. Okay, so I wanted to tell you guys this story of my afternoon. James, yeah, is the best place to hide a dead body. No question about that. Oh, I almost had a book phalange there. Okay, so I had to go to the library this afternoon to pick up some holds. I have a very delicate dance currently going on with the library because you are allowed to have 100 books out at a time, and you are also allowed to have 100 books on hold at a time. And I have about 25 or so books out just for me. But with upcoming videos that I'm planning for March, I like to have the book in my hands for the videos. And so I've got a couple of like curated kind of videos of like, to celebrate this, here are some books or, whatever. And so I'd put a whole bunch of books on hold that were coming in. It's a very delicate dance because with the whole COVID situation, our library quarantines books for 72 hours when you return them before they check them back in. So even though I've taken books back to the library, they're still on my account for 2 days. before they're taken off. So even though I bring books back before I pick more books up, there's 2 days where everything is still on my account. And so I'm playing this little delicate dance with the library. But anyways, so I'd gone to pick up my holds. And I thought, since it's so nice out, today it was like +6, +7. It is gorgeous out. That's Celsius, by the way. I'm in Canada. And so I thought, I haven't been to some little free libraries in such a long time. And there's this area in the city, Leopold Crescent, has like 4 little free libraries really close together. And so I thought, I'll just go and do that little run of little free libraries. So I drove to Leopold Crescent and I parked the car, and there's a little free library across the road. And then if you go down about 10 houses, there's another little free library on that side of the road. Then if you cross the road and go down 1 house, there's another little free library. And then about 5 houses down is another one. And I think that is awesome. So I did the run of the little free libraries, and then I got in my car and I drove further around the Crescent, discovered 2 more little free libraries that I didn't know were there. So there are now 6 little free libraries on Leopold Crescent. And the 2 that I found, there was 1 house in between them. And so it was great. So, I mean, I don't mind often like driving around the city to visit little free libraries, but to have 6 like that so close is awesome. So I actually keep this little bag of books in the car that I want to give away, and so I will take that with me when I get out of the car. I grab the little bag, and I've got books to put in the little free libraries if I find a book to take out. So it's pretty great. So Elizabeth, you're enjoying that series. I'm going to have to make sure that that's on my list of books. There was way more than I had thought, but it really is a great setting for mysteries, and more like subgenres than I expected. I expected some cozies, and I definitely found cozies, but I also found other, like, I'm not sure how you would classify them, but they are definitely not cozies. So yeah, that was really cool. So a morgue, that's a completely different thing, because I'm doing funeral directors or morticians, which is a different job than like a medical examiner or a coroner. And so, yeah, that also is a great setting for mysteries too, for sure, Carolyn. Emily, people are only allowed to have 10 holds? Seriously? I don't know what I would do if I was only allowed to have 10 holds. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Carolyn's library, hers are 30 items at a time. Wow. I wonder if part of the reason could be here in Saskatchewan, we have a provincial library system, which means all the libraries are connected. And so when you go on the catalog, you have access to all the books in the province, which is awesome. And so I can put any book on hold and they will bring it for me from anywhere else in the province, which is amazing. So Regina is here down in the south end of the province. And so libraries are scattered throughout the province. So even the libraries up in the far north, if the book that I want is there, then they'll bring it down to me. It's an amazing system. I love it so much. And that could be why we have maybe more hold possibilities, because sometimes then things are in shipment for longer, because they have to come from, it's like 8 or 10 hours up to the north of the province. Actually, probably 12, really. But anyways, Erin, yes, my head would explode if I could only put 10 books on hold. And now with this channel, seriously, because I like to have the actual book for the video, I don't know what I would do. I seriously don't know what I would do. And there's actually times when I've taken Erin's library card, and I've sometimes had, because my card's maxed out, and I've had to take out books on Erin's card. Elizabeth, you like to take out books for videos too. Yeah, I like to have it in my hand. I also like to be able to look at it and read the information rather than having to have the information beforehand printed out on paper or whatever. I just like to have the physical books for sure. You use your husband's and your kids' accounts, Elizabeth. Nice. I approve. Yes, and Carolyn, Leopold Crescent, yeah, it is the best name. It's a great crescent, actually. It's kind of just past downtown, in a nice old area of the city, right across from Wascana Park. Wascana Park is a fantastic park right in the middle of the city. There's this huge man-made lake, and there's a fountain, and it is a huge park. And so there are walking paths and plenty of trees. There's picnic areas, and there's an outdoor swimming pool, and there's an island. There's also this like big setup for like rowing races and stuff like that. And then that's also where our legislature building is. So it's a pretty cool area of the city for sure. Emily, so you can only have 10 books on hold, but there is no limit to how many books you can take out of your library? That is awesome. I need to go to your library. Oh my goodness. No, I think actually I need some kind of restrictions or I would go totally crazy. Hicks Picks. Oh no, there's not that many Little Free 45 minutes of your house. That is unfortunate. Maybe you should have a Little Free library in front of your house. We have a Little Free library and love it. It's so good and it's so well used. We didn't know how well it would do in our neighborhood, but it is really well used. And at this point, people do put some books into it, but far more people take books than put in, which is why I'm so glad that our library right now, the books that are in their sale area, which is just a pop-up sale cart, but all those books are free right now. And so every time I go to the library, I get books from there for free to put in our Little Free library. So yeah, that has worked out really well. Emily, yours don't have good books. Hey, you know what? It really depends. It honestly depends. Sometimes there are great things. And then other times, like there was a couple of the Little Free libraries that I visited today that were a hot mess. The books were like shoved in there in all, shapes and like falling over and a big mess. And I mean, I would never let ours get to that state. But on the other hand, I also I don't really curate what goes into our Little Free library either. I think even if a book is old, let's say that someone puts a book in there and it was written in the 60s and the pages are all yellow, that doesn't mean it's a bad book. Like somebody might love that book. I read a lot of backlisted books. And so, if it's a book from the 80s and stuff, if it's a mystery and looks interesting to me, I'll still take it. So, I mean, it's nice to have some of the newer popular books in there for sure. But I think there is totally value in having all kinds of books from all decades. If you can, I think that would be great. Jackie, she is in West Michigan and has a similar system. There's about 15 libraries. Oh, there's a limit of, you can get 30 out from Libby? Really? And 30 of your books. That's interesting. Carolyn is saying she's never been to Canada, but it's on her list. You are more than welcome. Please stay here. I would love to introduce you to the prairies. Saskatchewan gets talked down a lot, but it is a beautiful province. And Regina is a fantastic city. I love living here. Hicks Picks. Oh yeah. It is a little harder to have a Little Free library when you live outside of a town or a city. But hey, I wouldn't let that stop you. It'd be interesting to see how many people stop while driving by. That would be really interesting. Yeah, no, I love it. And it's actually really funny. I've turned into even more of a voyeur than I was before. So if I notice out the window that somebody's at the Little Free library, I will kind of hide and then peek so that I can see out the front window and, see if they're choosing a book and if anything looks interesting to them. I love watching people in our Little Free library. I think it's fantastic. Also, you get some hilarious stuff left in your Little Free library. Like someone hooked the roof of our Little Free library has a little bit of an overhang, and somebody left 5 hangers on there. One time they were like, I don't need these, but hey, someone else might want them. So yeah, that was pretty funny too. But I love having a Little Free library. I love being like the person who can provide books for our neighborhood. I think that's great. And honestly, like I love seeing when kids go in there and find a book that they love to read. Like that, I just love that. Yeah. So what do you guys think? Are you up for doing one more reading sprint? Because I need to finish my book. I need to know what happens in the last 4 pages. The killer has already been revealed, but you never know. Sometimes there's like something that gives a hint to the next book that's coming in the series. Oh, Hicks Picks, you'll come for the physical storefront of Book Outlet. Where is that? Is that true? That you can actually shop there? I did not know that. It's probably in Ontario somewhere, is my guess. I'm trying to think where they come when we order books from Book Outlet here. Aaron, Aaron's ready for another reading sprint. Although in his case, I doubt he's reading. It'll probably be a 20-minute working sprint. Well, if you guys are in, I would love to do one more. 20 minutes. Oh, yes, Carolyn, you need to go to PEI. PEI is so gorgeous. Aaron and I visited a few years ago now. We have friends who live there. And so we went and we stayed with them. And it was so fun because we saw all of the things that you're supposed to see. We went to the L.M. Montgomery Homestead and we went to see Green Gables and we walked down Lover's Lane. But then there's all the other like fantastic stuff about Prince Edward Island. We visited Cavendish and saw the beaches with the red, the red sand, the red soil. And we also went to a Kaylee, which is great because our friends live in a really small town in PEI. And they had like I don't know if it was like a weekly Kaylee or a monthly Kaylee, but it happened when we were there. And so we went and it was so fun. People were so friendly and we danced a bit and there was music and food. And yeah, it was awesome. I loved it. It was really fun. Okay, so Carolyn, will I go with you to PEI? Sure. Why not, right? Prince Edward Island is awesome. Okay. There's a warehouse in where, Emily? Thorold? I don't know what that is. They have Kaylee's in Canada. Yeah, we do. Because especially on the East Coast, there's quite a high population of people from Scotland who emigrated over from Scotland. On our East Coast, our maritime provinces, as it were. So yeah, we do. I don't know how popular they might be anywhere else. There's other areas of the country for sure that have, Scottish populations. But yeah, Kaylee's for sure. They were awesome. The email list for PEI Tourism, Hicks Picks. Nice. Oh, Thorold. Oh, yeah. Okay, Nova Scotia. Yeah, for sure, Nova Scotia, Carolyn. Okay, what do you guys think? One more 20-minute reading sprint? I think we should do it. If you're ready, let's go right now. 20 minutes. Let's go. Oh, Hicks Picks St. Catharines. Yeah, that's not that far from Toronto. Yeah, I figured it would be in Ontario. That's awesome. Next time I'm in Ontario, then I might have to go visit the Book Outlet store. Hello, Cozy. Cozy Reads Mystery is here. Yes, we're just in the middle of a sprint. We have 8 minutes to go, but I'm glad you're here. Today is a big day for live shows on BookTube, which has been awesome. So, yeah, if you want to read for 8 minutes, Cozy, that would be awesome. Rainy, hi, nice to see you. I'm glad that you're here. Rainy Day Reads just popped up. That's totally fine, Rainy. Were you over on Krista's live reading sprints? A middle grade mystery, Rainy. That's awesome. I love it when we can combine readathons. So yeah, a middle grade mystery. That's perfect. Ooh, hey, Beach Bum Bookworm. We've got 1 minute left in our sprint. I'm not reading the dictionary. No, that would be hilarious, though. I'm going to talk about this book in a second here when we're done. All right, there's my timer. Okay, how did it go? Did everybody get some reading in? So, Beach Bum Bookworm asked if I was reading the dictionary, which is hilarious, by the way. And I don't even have a physical copy of a dictionary to read anymore, but I think that would be funny. I'm reading from this Vintage Mystery and Detective Stories, edited by David Stewart Davies. And I'm talking about combining readathons. This is great because this is my mammoth for March of the Mammoths, because that's to read a book over 800 pages. And this one is 1,276 pages. It's definitely a mammoth, and it's actually not that easy to read because it is super heavy. You have to actually like leave it in your lap for sure. And so the story I'm reading in this is Silver Blaze by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So yeah, so I love being able to combine readathons, because there are so many readathons going on this month here on BookTube. And of course, March Mystery Madness is the one that I'm focusing on, but I love that I can dip my toes in and out of some of the other ones. And so this is me dipping my toes in March of the Mammoths. Is anybody else combining readathons this month? I know Rainey is. She's also doing Middle Grade March, which is awesome. Ooh, Emily, you're over 50% into your book. That is awesome. Michelle B, hi, nice to see you here. Oh, you got a good stretch of reading, Carolyn. That's really impressive. I realize that's not necessarily pages, but that seems like you got a good amount read, that's for sure. Is it all one story? No, it's a collection of short stories or novellas of vintage crimes. So the one that I'm reading is a Sherlock Holmes story. The first one was The Purloined Letter by Edgar Allan Poe. There's stories in here by Wilkie Collins and G.K. Chesterton and Edgar Wallace and Charles Dickens. Like really some of the classics of the golden age, but also before. And I don't know what that's called, like that era before the golden age. So the golden age is like 1920s to the 1940s. And so that time before, like the Sherlock Holmes stories is a prime example. I think I've heard that called like Gaslight Mysteries, which is great. I think that's a great title. So yeah, there's Mrs. Henry Wood stories in here, Rudyard Kipling, Jacques Futrelle, Hornung, yeah, M.E. Braden. So yeah, there's a lot. Mark Twain has a story in here. And then it ends with The Mystery of a Hansom Cab by Fergus Hume, which I'm really excited about. That's a one from the late 1800s set in Australia, which I'm really excited to get to. And so, yeah, I don't tend to read a lot of short stories or novellas. And so I tend, if I have them in huge bind ups like this, but I love getting into that, like short stories. I find I can read those. I do enjoy those. And so I was going to ask a question about that, and now I've totally lost my train of thought here. Okay. So let's catch up here. I was babbling away and I've missed. Rainey, you're going to try and read a mammoth? Although that's probably not hard. You read some classics, and a lot of the classics can get really long. That's for sure. Oh, nice to have you back, Ambi Craft Reads. That's for sure. Hicks Picks is combining middle grade March and March Mystery Madness, which is awesome. And Michelle, yeah, you're doing some middle grade too. Carolyn, three readathons, but no overlap. That's going to be a heavy reading month for sure. Michelle's looking at doing some for March of the Mammoths. One thing that I love about March of the Mammoths is that they say that you don't have to finish the book in the month, which is good. It's just to encourage you to get it started. And so I appreciate that, because I'm certainly not reading this in the month of March. I'm doing this actually as a buddy read with Berna. From Berna's Bookish Adventures, and we've decided to take 6 months to read it. There's 50 stories in here, and so that works out to 2 stories a week. And so even if some of them are a little bit longer and that they're maybe more like a novella, that's actually very manageable, and I think that would make it more enjoyable for sure. And Elizabeth, yeah, reading your Bible in 90 days. Yeah, that totally counts as a mammoth, 100%. And that is awesome, actually. Good for you. Let's see. Elizabeth is doing middle grade, and oh yes, the Irish readathon. I have a couple of mysteries that are set in Ireland, so I could totally count that as dipping my toes in for sure to the Irish readathon. I think that's awesome. Ambi Craft Reads is combining too. Yeah. Rainy Day, you're reading The Dead Secret, right? Wilkie Collins? That's great. Have you started it? I read that for Victober, and I loved it. The Woman in White is one of my top 5 favorite books of all time, and I also love The Moonstone. And so, but those had been the only 2 Wilkie Collins that I had read, and so I read The Dead Secret in October for Victober and loved it. It was super, super fun. Cozy, woo, she's read nothing but Cozy since 2018 and hasn't burned out yet. Sweet. Good for you, Cozy. I'm all about knowing what you love and reading what you love. I honestly do think like reading is for pleasure, reading is for enjoyment. So if you know what you like, read what you like. 100%. Definitely. Carolyn, March Mystery Madness, Middle Grade March, and March of the Moderns. Yes, March of the Moderns. That's a fun readathon. That one's being done by Margaret Pinot, I think. And I mean, that one will totally fit because I have some Agatha Christie and some Dorothy L. Sayers, and a few of the others from the Golden Age. So those would totally fit in with the March of the Moderns for sure. James, Silver Blaze. Oh, see, now I have read a lot of Sherlock Holmes, but as I started reading that, I realized I've never read that one before. I'm not sure which collection it's from. He says it's got one duff clue that Chesterton later stole. Oh, really? That's interesting. Realm of the Impossible. I've never heard of that short story collection. I'll have to look it up. That's very, very interesting. The one thing that I don't like about this collection, there's a good introduction that I like, but they just introduced the story and the author. What I would love to see is when it was written. So even if it was done, if it was serialized in a magazine or a periodical, I would still love to know when it was written. I just like to have that information. I think it's interesting. All right, Ambi. Well, it was nice that you came back. Thank you for coming back. And for March of the Moderns, that's just to read books from the first half of the century, the first half of the 1900s. I think it's 1900 to 1950. any book written during that time. I believe there is a bingo board that Margaret created, but I'm not sure where to find it. But I think it's one of those readathons where if you just read anything from 1900 to 1950, then you're participating. Dream in the Garden is probably doing March Mystery Madness and Middle Grade March. Yeah, sweet. Rainy, you haven't started it yet. Oh, I hope you enjoy it. It's a really fun one. It's a little more lighthearted than The Woman in White and The Moonstone, but also really fun. Definitely a sensational novel. It's just super, super fun. Carolyn, oh yeah, The Woman in White. Yeah. I love The Woman in White so much. Hicks picks. There are so many readathons going on, and you want to get involved in everything, but it's just not possible. The Beach Bum Bookworm. Oh, this is the first readathon. March Mystery Madness is the first one that you're participating in. Well, that is sweet. Welcome to the Madhouse. Dream in the Garden is new to cozies and she loves them. Yeah, I don't read a lot of cozies, but I read a few, and they're just so fun, honestly. Like, they're just a fun, quick read for me, and I quite enjoy them. I tend to prefer cozies that are set in the UK to cozies that are set in the States. I'm not entirely sure why that is, but I do. I'm a big Anglophile. That's probably why. Cozy. Yeah. Rainy, I love sensational novels too. Sensation novels are just so fun. And I think for the same reason why I love a good Gothic story, I love the drama of it. Everything is slightly over dramatized, and it's really fun. All right. Carolyn, you agree on the UK cozies? Yeah. I'm not entirely sure why. They're slightly different in the format. American cozies, I've noticed a pretty common format is to have someone move back to their hometown and then stumble over a dead body. That gets them started, and then the series continues. They're very often in a small town. And a lot of that is similar. I mean, they are very often in a small town in the UK too. So I'm not entirely sure what it is, but yeah, I do tend to prefer the ones that are set in the UK. But there are so many out there. Like, if it's a cozy, especially if it's a cozy set at a bookstore, I am in. Or about a book club or a library. I love those settings for cozies for sure. Emily has never read, from the Redhead is Reading, she's never read a UK cozy. There are so many. There's a fun series, Emily, by Hannah Dennison, the Vicky Hill series. They're set in a village in England, Gipping upon Plym, I think, which is the most English sounding name ever. And she's a journalist or an investigative reporter in her town, and she solves mysteries. I like that series. There's only 5 maybe. So yeah, that one is a fun one. And Hannah Dennison actually just wrote a new one. I think the series is called Island Sisters, and I wish I could remember what the first one was called, but this woman realizes that she has inherited a hotel on an island off of Cornwall. And so, yeah, brilliant setting. And then the hotel from its past has a connection to Golden Age writers. They would go there to stay to write their books or something. And so there was there's a bunch of first editions there. It's just a great setting. That one's a great setting. I'm trying to think of the other ones that I've read in the UK, Emily. Oh yeah, MC Beaton for sure. So she's got her Agatha Raisin series. And these are long series. So Agatha Raisin used to work in PR in the city, and she retires and moves to a small village in the Cotswolds. and gets involved in mysteries. Those ones are fun. And then the Hamish Macbeth ones, they're cozies, even though the main character is a police officer. So Hamish Macbeth is the village constable in his village in the Highlands, and I love those ones too. Those ones are really, really fun. Oh, yes, and Elizabeth, Her Royal Spyness. Yeah, that's another great series. Those are historical cozies, so they're set in England in the 30s. The main character is Georgiana Ronach, and she's 34th in line to the throne. Her cousin is the queen, and so yeah, that's awesome. So her brother is the current head of the family, and they have a castle in Scotland. But they have like title and property, but no money, kind of thing. That's a great, great series. The Poppy Red Fern. Oh, that sounds interesting. Beach Bum Bookworm. I'm going to have to check that one out by Tessa Arlen. She's an air warden in World War II. I have never heard of that. That sounds great. And yeah, Carolyn, the Flavia de Luce series is awesome. That one is 1950s in England. And the main character, when in the first book, she's 11. And I wasn't entirely sure how I would like a child protagonist. But they were good. She was a fun character. She loves chemistry, and there's hilarious sibling rivalry with her sisters. That's a good series. And I've just started it though. I need to keep going in that series. And Elizabeth, yes, the Mrs. Jeffreys series, that's set in the UK too, 100%. That's in London in Victorian times. Mrs. Jeffreys is the housekeeper to a Scotland Yard inspector. That's a great series. Totally cozy, for sure. And the Maisie Dobbs, I wouldn't call the Maisie Dobbs really cozies. Those are historicals because they're set in the 20s. I think they start in the 20s anyways. And some people would classify them as cozies, but I wouldn't necessarily. They're historical, but definitely in the traditional side. Often people will say that cozies and traditionals are the same thing, and they're not. They're slightly different. So, for example, Miss Marple, she isn't those aren't cozies. Those are traditional mysteries, I would say. And the Aunt Dimity series, Elizabeth, 100%, those are cozies. I love those ones. So those ones are about an American who inherits a cottage in England, and then she moves over there. And those ones are really fun because there's a bit of a supernatural element, but it's not huge. And I actually really love how it's done. I love Aunt Dimity in those series. So those ones are really fun and definitely cozies. Yeah, I need to try these Poppy Redfern series. That sounds awesome. She's a air raid warden in World War II. That's great. Yeah. Yes, I've watched Elizabeth. I have watched some of Beach Bum Bookworm. I've totally subscribed to her channel. I've watched some of hers. Yeah, she's all about the cozies. She did one just recently about animal cozies, and I'm not a huge animal fan, but it was really fun to see. Like, there are so many of them that are about like that have animals as a kind of a key part of the story, for sure. Ooh, Neil Dudgeon from Midsummer Murders. He would be a good narrator, I think, for an audiobook. The Cheringham Mysteries. Who wrote those, Carolyn? I don't think I've ever heard of those either. That's interesting. So yeah, Emily, you have a lot of choices. There's like definitely some cozy historical cozy mysteries, 100%. But there's also modern day cozy set in the UK. If you want to try something out, there are a lot of them for sure. Rainy. I understand that. And if you need to go to sleep, you should go to sleep. It's the weekend, right? For sure. Yeah, Vicky Hill is a reporter. Yeah, those ones are really fun. There's some nice quirky characters in those. Like in one of them, there's one guy that's a hedge jumper. a competitive hedge jumper. And I'd never heard of that before. I thought, what is that about? That's hilarious. And I think like we would call them bushes. It sounds like he just jumps the bushes. I don't remember. But yeah, I haven't read those in a really long time. I have them on my shelf. I still need to get the fifth one, but I should really reread that series. JM, the misfortune ones may not be cozy. Well, that's okay. What are they? Traditional or just awesome? It was really fun to chat with you, Rainey. I'm so glad that you came on here and spent a little bit of time with us. This has been really fun. I honestly didn't really know what to expect. But like, you guys are so awesome. I love being able to have a real-time chat with people about books. Like, I mean, that is just the best thing about BookTube, I think. And so, I mean, I love chatting in the comments, but this opportunity to have a real-time chat with people is just so fun. You have a little crush on Neil Dudgeon, Carolyn. So the Cherringham series is by Matthew Costello. When this is over, I am going to have a huge list of books. I'm going to have to go back through the comments and look up all of these books. And I am just going to now have way more books on hold at the library. I honestly think sometimes Erin and I think the library is going to ban me because I make them work too hard. Good night, James. Thanks for being here. I'm really glad that you hung out with us for a while. That was really cool. Carolyn, she's got, 4 in an audio bind up. Nice. Good to see you. Yes, definitely. Jackie, yeah, the Cherringham mysteries do sound very interesting. Carolyn, give us a little bit more there. They sound like they're maybe in the UK, but like, are they a cozy? Are they historical? What's that? So we've been here for a little over 2 hours, but you know what? I'm still good to go, and I haven't finished my Silver Blaze story yet. I'm about 10 page. I got about 10 pages in our last reading sprint, so I am 100% up for doing one more. If you guys want to do one more, oh, HicksPicks, yeah. I am totally going to host more lives. And actually, while I'm thinking about that, I'm doing one every Saturday in the month of March. But next week, I'm going to do it at 1:00 Central Time because I want to put it during a time when my lovely friends from the UK could also join us, because that's early evening for them. And so Saturday afternoon, could work for people here in Canada and the States, depending on what time zone that you're in. But I wanted to also include them. So today I did it at 7:00 Central, and the third Saturday I'm going to do 7:00 Central too. But the second Saturday and the fourth Saturday I'm going to do at 1:00 Central Time. So that hopefully some of our friends from the UK could join us as well. So yeah. This has been great. I love doing lives, although I've now only done the one. But anyway, so what do you guys think? Do you want to do one more reading sprint? Are you up for it? There's still a few of you here holding on. Breezy Ann H, hi. She's going to watch from the beginning once it's over. That's awesome. Well, you're here now, and we actually might be doing one more sprint. Oh, the Cherringham Mysteries, an amateur and a retired detective teaming up. That does sound awesome. You're right, Emily. That is a cool combo. And only like 3 hours each. So a 3-hour audio, those of you guys who are audio queens and kings, about how long of a book do you think that is? That seems short to me. That would be maybe a novella, or I mean, I don't know. I don't tend to listen to a lot. Oh, sweet. You guys are so awesome. Let's do one more reading sprint. This is so much fun. Yay. Okay. So, 119 pages. Oh yeah, so that's a novella size. That's awesome. And so to have a bunch in a bind up is actually a great idea when you've got novellas like that. Sweet. Okay, so let's do one more 20-minute reading sprint. And let's start in 45 seconds. That'll take us to, I guess it doesn't matter that much. Let's just go now. Aaron, what are you reading? Are you actually reading anything, Aaron? He's just being supportive, Elizabeth. That's my husband. He's working. I knew it. We're going to do a 20-minute reading sprint, and he's going to do a 20-minute working sprint. Okay, let's do a 20-minute sprint starting in 10 seconds. Maybe I will get my Silver Blaze story done. I'm not sure how many more pages there are. Ooh. 60. Oh, I could do it. There's only 16 pages left, so it's entirely possible. Okay, let's start now. I am starting the timer right now. Totally grab a sweater, Carolyn. That's 100% okay. All right, so that's my timer. And hilariously, I have this bottom paragraph and then this, and I'm finished my story. So I'll just finish it later, but I was close, but I didn't quite make it. But this is interesting. So this is Silver Blaze by Arthur Conan Doyle. It's a Sherlock Holmes story. And this is the story that a really famous phrase comes out of, the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime. So I thought that was great. He says, "Is there any point to which you would wish to draw my attention?" And Sherlock Holmes says, "To the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime. The dog did nothing in the nighttime. That was the curious incident," remarked Sherlock Holmes. So there you go. If you've ever wondered where that came from, it's from Silver Blaze. Yay! All right, so how did it go for you guys? Did you finish reading what you wanted to read? Did you get a good portion done? I'm going to have to finish my my story there. I've got like 2 paragraphs left. So yeah, that's awesome. And then I will just need to read the first chapter in Strong Poison. I'm reading a chapter a day for this because we've got the whole month to read Strong Poison. And this is the case where he meets, this is a Lord Peter Wimsey, and this is where he meets Harriet Vane. And so that's good. She is on trial for murder. I believe she's on trial, or at least suspected of murder. And then I'm going to keep reading in my Death in Springtime. This one is interesting. It's set in Florence, modern day Florence. Well, this was written in the 80s, 1983, I think. And it's about two girls get kidnapped right in the middle of the city, but nobody notices. And one of them is an American. And then so one of them gets let go right away, and the other one is kept for ransom. And but nobody notices because it happens on the 1st of March and it's snowing, and that is so unusual for the area that people are kind of like so disconcerted and so attracted to the snowing and what's happening there that they don't see what else happened. So yeah, has anyone ever read Magdalene Nab? Has anyone ever heard of her? I have 2 books by her. I think I found these at a book sale somewhere, and I liked the idea of a story written in Florence. I think that's really cool. Okay. Oh, yeah, Emily, I don't always mark where I start, so I don't often know how many pages I've read, but about 12 pages, that's pretty good. 4%, Carolyn. Excellent. The Beach Bum Bookworm, she's also listening to audio. That's good. 2.5 chapters. That's great. 17 more pages. Hicks Picks. Nice. Yeah, so you're about 50 pages into your book. That's great. Knitting books, etc. Hi, nice to see you here. Emily, 73 pages tonight. That's great. That's really good. Breezy Ann H. Ooh, you read Endless Night, the Agatha Christie. What did you think? That's a good one. That's a standalone and quite dark for Agatha Christie, but awesome. And you've read NetGalley Arc, Dogged by Death. That's a good title. That sounds like it's possibly a cozy. Jackie's on chapter 10 and it's getting mysterious. Nice. I like that. Aldebeck. I'm sorry if I'm not saying that right. Welcome here. It's good to have you for sure. And of course it counts. However much you read and whenever you read, it totally counts. And we're very glad to have you here. Knitting books, etc. You've read 3 Poirot out of your 8. Like, are your books all Poirots? Is this for the prompts for March Mystery Madness? That's impressive. I like it. Yeah, Breezy Ann. I think people are a little bit surprised by how dark Endless Night is, especially because quite often Agatha Christie's books are like categorized as cozies. I mean, especially Miss Marple, but people kind of have this impression. And Endless Night, I mean, Endless Night is good. It's a really good one, but yeah, it's quite dark and awesome. Yeah, very fun. So, what do you guys have for the rest of your Saturday evening? It's 9:30 here, so I'm just going to read for the rest of the night. I've got some wine in the fridge, so I might pour myself a glass of wine and maybe have a snack, maybe some chips, and read some more books. I'm going to finish Silver Blaze for sure, and then read my chapter in Strong Poison. And then I'm not sure, I might start The Mystery of Mrs. Christie, or I might read some more in Death in Springtime. This is so little. It's like 155 pages. So this won't take me very long to read at all. I'll definitely have it finished this weekend for sure. Knitting books, etc. Yeah, 8 Agatha Christie's for the prompts. I love it. That's awesome. Ooh, Carolyn, she's got a late dinner of pizza and a movie. Good times. Can I come over? All right. Well, I think that might be it. I mean, of course, I'm going to continue reading. So if you guys are in and want to do one more reading sprint, that would be okay for me. But if you guys think 2.5 hours is more than long enough for a live show, I also completely understand that. Ooh, Hicks picks. She votes for me to start The Mystery of Mrs. Christie. Yeah, Hicks, is it good? I've heard a few like mixed things, but it's such a fascinating thing. So this is a fiction about what may have happened when Agatha Christie went missing. She very famously went missing for 11 days in 1926, and never spoke about it. And so of course, that just levels up the mystery. Everybody wanted to know, where did she go? What happened in those 11 days? And so, yeah, I'm actually really curious about this. The one thing that I find interesting, Agatha Christie was a very private person. So I'm not actually at all surprised that she didn't talk about what happened in those 11 days. Because she's a very private person. And before she disappeared, her mother had just died, and she had a really close relationship with her mother. And then her husband confessed to an affair and said that he was leaving her. So that would have been a really, really hard time for her. So I'm actually not surprised that she needed to get away, that she needed some time off. What I would love to know was, why was her car found kind of like just abandoned? I think the door was even left open, and she had left behind a bag. That part I'm really curious about, what happened there. The fact that she took off to the north of England and spent 11 days at a hotel up there doesn't really surprise me very much. But I want to know, why was her car left the way it was? That is very mysterious. All right. Oh, I've been missing some. Breezy Ann, she doesn't love that particular trope. She can't say without giving it away. Interesting. Oh, I see. Yeah, with the Endless Night. Yeah, yeah. But you liked what she did with it. Yeah. Knitting books, etc. Your favorite until now has been Death in the Clouds. I love Death in the Clouds. I think that's a great one. I think that's a really underrated Agatha Christie. Because the murder takes place on an airplane, and so it's a classic closed circle, and then Poirot is on the airplane, which is genius. So technically he's a suspect, but also the fact that he didn't see it happen is great. Yeah, I love that. So if that's been your favorite up till now, what's your favorite now? Knitting books, etc. Hicks picks. Good night. Nice. I'm glad that you were here. I was really glad to spend some time with you. Carolyn, you're in for one more. Yeah, Hicks picks. Agatha Christie's husband, Archie Christie. Yeah, he did not treat her very well at all. I agree. Carolyn saying goodnight. Ooh, knitting books, 3:30. Where are you? Where it's 3:30. If you're in the UK, we're doing another reading sprint next Saturday, but we're doing it at 1 o'clock Central instead of 7 p.m. So that might be a better time for you. Alda Bach, you've started the second book in the Reverend Mother mystery series. Oh, by Cora Harrison. I think I read the first book in that series and really liked it. And then I forgot about it. So yeah, thanks for reminding me. I need to pick up that series. That's awesome. And yes, Carolyn, it is interesting that she used her husband's girlfriend's name at the hotel. That's yeah, that's crazy. And I think you're right, Elizabeth. Matt has started his read along of Death in the Clouds. Carolyn's favorite Agatha Christie standalone is And Then There Were None, Poirot, Murder on the Orient Express, Marple, Sleeping Murder, Tommy and Tuppence, Partners in Crime. Nice, nice. I would agree with that, except for the Poirot. I think it's hard, but because there's so many that I love, but I actually think that I like Death on the Nile more than Murder on the Orient Express. Yeah, I do. It's good. And what I like about Death on the Nile is it is so tight. It is so tightly plotted, and I love that. Like there is absolutely nothing in there that doesn't need to be in there. It's so good. Oh, knitting books, etc. Lisboa, nice. I'm so glad that you're here. And so I think that if we did one next weekend that was at 1 o'clock Central Time, that might be better, work out better for you. We'd love to have you back next week. That would be great. All right. Well, it looks like maybe everyone's ready to be done now. Yeah. She read the first one in December. Yeah. So, I mean, Carolyn said she's up for one more reading sprint. And you know what? I am too. And I guess I'm the one who ends this. So I don't know. I'm just going to do another one. And if you're here, you're here. And that's awesome. And if you have to go, I completely understand. But yeah, why don't we do one more and then I can finish Silver Blaze? That's awesome. And if Strong Poison, I don't think the chapters are very long because this is not a very long book. There's like 23 chapters. Let's see. Chapter 1 is only 18 pages. I bet you I could get that read in the next reading sprint. Oh yeah, ABC Murders and Five Little Pigs are Poirots. Yeah, those are awesome. All right, good night, knitting books, etc. And I'm looking forward to hanging out with you again next week for sure. Breezy-Ann H, you're in. Aldelbeck, you're in. I'm really sorry if I'm not saying that right. Beach Bum Bookworm, you're in too. Awesome. Oh my goodness, you guys are so awesome. I love hanging out with people who love reading as much as I do and talking about books. Like this is honestly like the best way to spend a Saturday night, hands down. Yeah, Emily, totally. As for a chance to finish your chapter, sweet. So yeah. All right, well then let's do it. I'm going to start the timer and we'll do another 20 minutes. Woohoo! Timer started now. Done. Woo-hoo. You don't need to change your name. I just need to learn how to pronounce it properly. All right, strong poison. Great first sentence. I'll have to tell you about it after. Hi, Jen. Remembered Reads. We're just in the middle of a reading sprint. We've got less than a minute to go. And thanks. Yes, happy reading to you too. And good night, good morning, depending on where you are in the world. And Emily, way to go. You finished your chapter. Woohoo! I'm not going to get mine done now, but I'm like 4 pages away. All right, that's it. 20 minutes. That's the alarm. All right, so I've got a couple of things already. I didn't quite finish the first chapter, but so this is Strong Poison by Dorothy L. Sayers, written in 1930, and it has an absolutely fantastic first sentence. Are you ready? There were crimson roses on the bench. They looked like splashes of blood. Ooh, that's good, right? Also, I thought this was a hilarious little nod to herself. So Dorothy L. Sayers was in advertising before she started writing her books, and she famously came up with the slogan for Guinness for the beer. And I think this is the slogan. So the judge is summing up at a trial, and at 11 o'clock, he says, at 11 o'clock, boys had a Guinness, observing that according to the advertisements, it was good for you. And I'm pretty sure that slogan, good for you, is the one that Dorothy L. Sayers came up with. Does anybody know? I think that's hilarious. And I think it's awesome that she put it in her book. Oh, Jackie, your reading segment was good. Awesome. I love it. All right. Well, I think that this time I need to say goodnight for real. Breezy-Ann, you've read Whose Body and Clouds of Witness. Yeah. I haven't read all of Dorothy L. Sayers. I've read a few. I think I've read both of those. I can't remember now. And I'm fairly certain that I've read Strong Poison before. But it would have been like at least 10 years ago that I read it before. And so of course I've forgotten everything. Beach Bum Bookworm, another 2 chapters. Nice. Redhead is reading and 91 pages tonight. That is awesome. So which is more important to you, Emily? Is it more important to you to finish a chapter or to stop at 100 pages? Yeah, that's tricky. I totally get that that's tricky. Yeah, Strong Poison. So far, so good. I like how she starts. The book starts with the judge summing up the trial to the jury, and that's a great way, I think, to give the reader the information that they need. So yeah, I'm loving it so far. Carolyn, you are welcome no matter what you are reading. So of course, you're going to finish at your chapter. You hate being in the middle. Yeah, I get that, Emily. So it has been so much fun to hang out with you guys tonight. I have loved it. Good night, Jackie. Breezy-Ann H, you are very welcome. I'm glad that you were here. And yeah, so I hope to see you guys next week. We're going to do this again. Like I said, 1 o'clock Central Time. And hopefully that works out better for some of our friends from the UK. And yeah, so I'm going to say goodnight. Thank you so much for reading with me. This has been so much fun. And I will see you again very, very soon. Good night, everybody.